Japan eats about 100 times more iodine a day, and that's interesting because they also have a much lower cancer risk. They're so much healthier, so much healthier, so much smarter. The average IQ is 130 in the US. Any guesses? Common deficiencies that people aren't aware of. We touched on the overabundance of things like iron, and we talked about sodium. We talked about definite things you want to be supplementing. I would say the other thing is like 99% of people, this is a stat, are deficient in potassium. I've seen that be true. It's like you have to constantly work at these things because your body's burning them too, right? As you're living your life, you start to feel better, you start to do more too. That's really where it becomes interesting. So we've had people where their first test, their second test, they've changed and they've improved a lot, their numbers. And then we've had other people where the numbers have stayed pretty similar, but their activity's gone way up. Like we've had someone that got back to running 7 to 10 miles like 5 days a week, and she's like, I feel great. I'm not on the couch anymore, but my numbers haven't moved that much, and maybe that's why. It's like, well, yeah, your activity went up, so you have to supply more. It's almost like you're living for 2 people now. That is a great segue into moms and taking care of health, both before, during, and after pregnancy. Postpartum depression, in my opinion, is 95% avoidable through nutrition, through everything we talked about today. And if you're only testing your blood, you're probably going to go like, all right, you have no deficiencies. And they're like, they're obviously there for a reason, right? They're like, no one goes, I always say, like, remember that no one showed up to the doctor's office because they had no problems. Let's just get ahead of it and you'll be a lot better off. The other thing would be iodine, something that I supplement daily. Everyone's deficient in that as well. Huge study, 96% of people were deficient, 6,000 people. And Japan eats about 100 times more iodine a day. And that's interesting because they also have a much lower cancer risk. They're so much healthier, so much healthier, so much smarter. The average IQ is 130 in the US. Any guesses? 100. And the difference in iodine alone, and magnesium would support this as well. Like if you're sleeping better, you remember more, you retain more, you go on to learn more and study more and feel empowered and all that stuff. Snack less and move more. The fitter version of you is smarter too. That's something like I just want to say very directly. I think we hint at it a lot in like sports, like, yeah, be your best self. You're going to be smarter when you're not overweight and inflamed. Like you taking the same test a year from now when you're healthier it's true. Iodine's key though for its antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. A lot of people took way too much zinc during COVID and probably still do, and that pushes out copper and you get bacterial infections, so you can check that. So you're going to be less virally susceptible, less bacterially susceptible by having balanced levels of those two. Do better at work by being appropriate amount of analytical, which is zinc levels, and creative appropriately, but not so creative you like have no follow through. That's copper. You can think of that as masculine and feminine. So that's a quick rundown.
Yeah, I often worry about iodine, or I think about iodine because I mean, my diet is, very much, call it mostly animal based. I eat like a very negligible amount of processed food. So it's like, I'm not eating any iodized salts. I'm not eating much processed foods. I'm just putting sea salt on meat and then having some fruit and veggies. Totally. So what would you recommend for iodine for?
Just definitely supplementing. I mean, I think most people listening to this, their diet is similar in some way, shape, or form to that. If you're not in Japan, your chances of eating enough iodine are really low. So they eat about 12 milligrams a day. Our RDA is 150 micrograms, which is 80 times different. You could eat a lot more iodine daily, and that does boost IQ. Turns out that children born from mothers that have iodine deficiency have a 20-point lower IQ, which is shocking. All those stats haven't improved because the soil's gotten worse and worse. So really just iodine. We have something called upgraded iodine. I take it daily. Especially, I take more before flights, more around radiation, metal detectors, all that stuff. So it does help protect.